Oh, you're a good girl getting one for your brother. Well done. Well, look at this. Giving them away willy-nilly. There's still more kids coming. Here you go. You got another one that you can give that to that person right there. That's what you need to do. Share. You want another one? Your sister as well. Absolutely. There we go. Well, look at that. That was a lot of kids. It's good to see. We need a lot more kids to be fishing. We need to drag them away from the PlayStations and the Xboxes and the computers and get them out on a freezing cold Victorian morning like this, where it's likely to rain on them. Too many kids these days see the rain and they run inside and get on the computer and get on Facebook and all that sort of stuff. It's not fair. Kick them outside and get them wet. They'll get dry, I'm sure. You've got a towel. Get them out in the environment and let them see what happens. You know, catch them a fish. Let them gut it. Let them cut it up and cook it. Doesn't matter if it's a horrible rock cod or something. I'm sure you'll eat it and I'm sure you'll love it because they caught it for you, they gutted it and they cooked it. That's important to get your kids outside. It's important to teach them that fishing is still a solid part of Australian life. It's what we do. It's who we are. We're an island nation. We don't share our shores with anyone else. So what we do here is what we have. It's all we have. And the government, who surprisingly enough works for us, many times you hear, I'm working for the government. That's not the case. They work for us. And we have to tell them what to do. That's what it's about. And that's why we're here today. I'm standing on some show bags. Please excuse that. This is a beautiful stage, as you can see. It was a last-minute call, but I think it's very appropriate to be standing in a boat and speaking to all you beautiful people. I'd just like to welcome you all here, firstly and foremostly. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, esteemed guests, and the media. And we do have some media here today, and it's good to see. This is, as I've just mentioned, and as you've just seen, it's a family thing. It's a family day. Fishing is a family sport. We need to always remember that. It's not just about the dad going to the tackle store and buying the worms for his, weekend away with the blokes. Taking your family with you. It's important to do that. But what we need as Australian anglers is we need recognition to be anglers, to be able to voice our opinion as anglers. That's what is really going to count in the future. But what you do here today, all of you people have signed up. I can see you now. And I know who you are. And you're putting your signature on the piece of paper that says, I vote for Australian fishing. And that's what you need to do. And that's what you young kids need to do. When you see trouble on the horizon in the fishing area, come out and stand in the rain with us. And put your fist in the air and say, I want a better go. I want a better shot at the title. Because I want to be able to fish out there. I don't want to be told that I need to drive 200 kilometres down the coast when the fishing is right on my back door. It's what we love about this country. It's the freedom to do the things that we love. Yes, there are always going to be rules and laws. And some of those rules and laws are there for a reason. And marine parks, I'm not totally against them. I've seen them work in other countries all over the world. I've seen beautiful marine parks growing countless millions of tonnes of fish for recreational fishers to catch, in New Zealand especially. But they just need to be put in the right place. They need to be in the right areas so that anglers find them relatively difficult to get to, because otherwise it really is going to encroach on our time, our delicate and valuable time that we have to share with our families. So recognition is a big thing, and there's 5 million of us here in Australia, and you people are beautiful, and I love you all because you are here to show and voice your own opinion. And you're doing it with your legs, and you're doing it with your faces looking at me now. We need real consultation, we need real scientific data to prove why we need marine parks and why anglers should be locked out of them. Currently, zero. Nothing. Nothing I know has ever come out of any scientific data that the current Gillard government has been able to produce that tells me that I shouldn't fish there. So let's see some of that in the future, and then we'll talk about marine parks. And you can keep fucking going because we want a fair go. That's all we want. We don't want a, I don't want a gold ring or a free pass to the movies or a new TV. I don't want any of that. I just want a fair go to go and catch a fish. It's simple. It's one of the most basic things that we can do. And they want to take it away from us, just like that. A signature on a piece of paper, done, gone. Goodbye, anglers. No, I'm not going to have it. I didn't spend the last 27 years of my life in the fishing industry to have some moron in Canberra tell me that I can't fish. Okay, so we've got some fantastic guests. Before I lose my throat, I was yelling at the kids yesterday, so I'm a bit hoarse. Not really. The first couple of guest speakers we've got don't really need, well, I suppose one of them might need a little bit of an announcement because he's a little bit hard of hearing these days. Mr. Rex Hunt's going to be first cab off the rank, followed by probably everybody's favourite fishing presenter, Lee Rainer. We also have Greg Hunt, the Shadow Minister for the Environment. We have Senator Richard Colbeck, spokesman, the coalition spokesman for fisheries, and this guy, he's your man, because I've seen him catch a bream. It was over a kilo on a lure, and that's not easy to do. Yet there he is. He's an angler. He's your man. Eyeball him out and talk to him. Sarah Henderson, probably the driving force behind all of this that you see here today, along with her many minions, which I'm sure have been running around feverishly trying to organise this. Thank you very much for your time and your space and your beautiful part of the world. We love you. We surprisingly enough, we've also invited Senator Christine Milne from the Leader of the Greens, and no show on that one. I'd also like to just throw a couple of apologies out there, and because you must have already got my memo, because there's no pitchforks or burning torches. Obviously, Tony Burke's not going to roll up. And Darren Cheeseman, the PM for Corangamite, he's not here either. So there you go. So if you've sharpened up your pitchfork especially, probably best to chuck it back in the hay. Without further ado, I would like to please get Mr. Rex Hunt. He's going to hit me over the head for that, but never mind. We'll get him up the stairs here and get him on the boat and let him do what he does best, which is talk to anglers. He's been doing it for more years than I care to remember, mate.
Wonderful bit of emotion, Adam, and I'm so glad to be here. Took me a while to get up there. I'm starting to show the signs of league football and just wear and tear. But I feel really warm, and I want to share this with you because it's been so good coming, some of you, such a long way. And I can rant and rave and carry on with the best of them. But I know what works and it's people power. And I know what politicians listen to, and that's people and families. But to see the enthusiasm of the next generation coming through is absolutely magnificent. But just let me remind you, just looking through some of these faces, I saw a lot of you in the mid-1990s when 10,000 of us marched on the steps of Parliament House. And Jeff Kennett looked through the window and said, goodness gracious me, what's going on there? And 87 scallop boats were history in Port Phillip Bay. We now have a multi-million-dollar tourism-related fishery in Port Phillip Bay where people come from all over the world to see the great phenomenon of spawning fish coming into the bay. We also have angler-related bag limits and size limits. These weren't done by the fisheries in a knee-jerk reaction. These were done by organisations like Future Fish and Burfish and the angling clubs going to the fisheries saying, we, the anglers, are catching too many fish, it's not good for the fishery, and it's not good for our image. So then all of a sudden, after some absolute imbecile started to kiss fish in the early 1990s, people start to release fish. They tag fish and they take kids fishing. seeing these kids here today warms the cockles of this old grandfather's heart, because, you know, young man, I like kids. You know why? I used to go to school with them, and I think they're absolutely fantastic. I see my own two beautiful granddaughters now. My goodness gracious me, do they love fishing, do they love getting out, and they sit down and they have their whiting and their flathead, and it's absolutely magnificent. Now this is the type of politicians we want to get the message across to. Now Adam said something about people making decisions for us, and the best that I can come up is rules made by people who hate fishing and only supported by those that can't fish. And if you have a look at that, that's the way. Similar things with the marine parks. Now I have a marine park in front of my place on the eastern seaboard of Port Phillip Bay. It's called the Ricketts Point Marine Park. And I will concede some of the most exotic species, some species that have never been seen, particularly after rain, appear on this marine park. Natural species like spent condoms, dead dogs, dog droppings, possum droppings, and even I think there was a small part of a bloke's hand went down there when 80 mil fell over the top of my joint during the football. But on a serious note, the marine park made a few people feel really, really good because they thought they were doing something. However, had they got their snorkel and their goggles and gone in underneath the surface of the water, they would have seen that the Ricketts Point Reef is slowly being eaten by Sabella, a fanworm, by Undaria, an introduced kelp from the Northern Hemisphere, and by the beautiful, beautiful orange starfish. Oh yes, we bring the children down here to have a look at the orange starfish that are eating the reef. The Northern Sea Star ate the Mediterranean. It was deposited in the Dontacostro Channel in northern Tasmania, where the senator comes from, and now they've brought it into Port Phillip Bay in the ballast of ships, and it's eating Port Phillip Bay. But let's make it a marine park because it feels good. John Kennedy is a famous orator, a famous coach of our Australian football. He said at half-time during the 1971 grand final, when Hawthorn were in all sorts of trouble against St Kilda, don't think, don't hope, do something. And my message here today to you people is this, that if you people have turned up here today, thousands have thought about it, and tens of thousands will know about it. This is a show of strength on most of your day off. Most of you have travelled a long, long way, having to get coffee and supplies for the kids. Some of you have come from interstate. That is what I call passion. Now, the fact of the matter is my daughter taught me one very, very good thing when I was going through a couple of bad spots in my life, and my own fault. She said, Dad, what people think of you is none of your business. But my time has come. My time is just starting to sort of wane. But the new beat of people, we need to come through and represent us. We need to go to the government and saying, just because you're a senior at 60 years of age, why does that mean that I don't pay a licence? That is ridiculous. I would like to see some sort of benefit given to licence holders who have to spend that money on food. Not a bloke like me who actually has worked pretty hard, given half of what I earn to the Gillard government, and I give it to the people who are still breaking wind under the doona at 3 o'clock this afternoon. But that's the way Australia works. But the way Australia works is that fishing is a family-related activity that does no harm to the environment and causes goodwill amongst people. You don't... Thank you very much. Stop clapping. I haven't got enough fish to throw from the lottie. Now, you don't see people walking onto the Werribee River like Bill Claxton catching the mulloway, carrying firearms and writing graffiti on the side of the pier. You see a kid on a pier, he's there for the right reason. He's not painting graffiti on the side of a train. Before I finish, let me tell you, I've never been so passionate about life, because I look out my window over the bay in October when Collingwood have lost the grand final by a point. It's a great day. And Eddie's gone purple. And I look across the horizon and I see 2,000 boats in my vision. I go to Western Port and I see the people down on the ramp selling coffee and sandwiches. The same people who said to me, how can you get rid of netting in Western Port? Well, I didn't get rid of netting, you people did, because it's the power of people. And in the history of this great nation, there's only one thing that has ever worked. It's worked in 2 wars. It's worked for the hundreds of years that we've been here. It's the power of people getting together. And for once in my life, I can walk amongst people now and say, it's not Future Fish, it's not Fur Fish, it's not the Torquay Angling Club, it's not We Fish, it's not I Fish, it's not F Fish, it's not Bad Fish. It's us. And we are the anglers. We are the world. And I can tell you now, if we stick together, there's nothing that gives us more power and energy, and people won't take any more notice than a group of people who stand together and say enough's enough. When I say enough's enough in finishing up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I just reiterate what Adam Reuter has said. And he, together with Lee Rainer and the young people here today, they're the future. They are going to be the voice, because I'm getting tired. I'm going to go and broadcast football this afternoon because I've just got to try and belt out an existence. Because she's taken all my money and given it to those people that don't work, and they're not here today. But I am. And I love fishing. And I love kids. And fishing is a part of this great nation. Let's stick together and say, we demand a fair go. Thank you very much.
I don't know, blab it on about something.